Right, welcome to UK Casuals. As you can see, we are without Gary Harris. That reason may come apparent when we go to the results a little bit later on. So anyway, we have Dave Cass. How are you tonight, Dave?
Yeah, I'm all right, thanks, Matty. All good, mate. All good.
Out in the van.
No, I mean I'm actually in the missus's motor tonight because it's just a little bit more comfortable.
Little bit more comfortable for you.
The seats are better.
Listen, no one can knock you for that, Dave.
All right, mate.
So lots to talk about, mate. Blackpool fans, I've got this off the Proper Football page, which is Gary Harris and Simon Wilton's page, is that Blackpool fans were not happy with the old bill. Now, the actual clip says that it was because the Blackpool old bill were keeping the fans behind in freezing conditions. But the comment said, no, this is St Andrews at Birmingham. So I'll insert clip.
Yeah.
So as you can see there, Blackpool fans not very happy with the old bill, kicking off against them. The reason's not quite apparent, but maybe it was because they were being kettled. I mean, I don't know the reasons for that.
Something must have happened in the ground or something. This is the problem at QPR Luton the other week. They let all the fans out together. Same with QPR Millwall earlier in the season. Let them all out together and it just went absolutely ballistic all over the gaff. But this time it looks like they've kept the Blackpool fans in. Maybe there was a hint of trouble. God knows what.
Yeah, and Blackpool fans wasn't happy at being kept in.
No, it's a pain in the arse, ain't it?
Well, it's not very nice being kettled.
No.
You wanted to talk about, was it the Legia Walsall fans at Leicester in the week?
Yeah, I mean, I see a bit of it on the RTE channel over here in Ireland. They put they had the game on, and I was sort of half watching the match, and it sort of beamed over to all the Legia fans were storming towards the old bill, ripping up the stuff that separates, you know, that they put over the seats to separate the fans and that.
It's like a long piece of cloth, isn't it?
Yeah, like all that tarpaulin or whatever it is, and they were trying to give it to the old bill, and it looked like they were, and I just wondered, you know, what the fuck goes on sometimes, because the Hungarians done it at Wembley as well, didn't they? Seem to get away with murders. And yet you see the Blackpool fans in that clip getting a bit of a slap or whatever. Why is it they steam into the our fans and seem to let these Europeans or whatever get away with murders? That's what it seems
do you know
like.
what, Dave? I mean, that's a very good point, and I think we talked about it in previous shows with Gary, and maybe we've brought it on ourselves. It's called possible. The English disease, isn't it? Hooliganism.
Well, yes, it was back in the 1970s and the 80s.
Yeah.
Hang on, things have moved on a lot, and it seems to be. You ever look at these clips? Did you ever watch Hooligans TV on YouTube? There's some serious battles going off all over the world, even. You know, old Bill across the world and fans getting stuck in. Much worse than what's going on over here at the moment. I know things are pretty bad this season across the board. There's a lot of violence back again this season. And the old Bill seemed to be letting people get on with it, which seems a bit ominous. Why they're doing that.
Yeah, maybe there's a greater reason behind it all.
Possibly. So beware anyone who's getting involved out there. Don't be daft. You know, because it might come back to bite you on the arse. That's all.
You're getting
be careful, man.
They'll come through your door at 4 a.m.
And you don't exactly that. Yeah, man.
That's what happens. That's what happens.
Yeah. The morning raid.
A morning raid. Yeah, it certainly is. Now I want to just quickly. There was a tweet from Alan Shearer, which you'll see now, and it's about Eddie Howe, and basically Alan Shearer saying, if you didn't know, you know now, about keeping Newcastle in the Premier League. So Alan Shearer, a Geordie, a homeboy lad, obviously thinks Newcastle are going down, Dave.
He says they're going down. Is that what he says?
Well, basically, yeah. Yeah.
Well, he obviously hasn't got a lot of faith then in Eddie Howe.
No.
He's saying something like that. Norwich are picking up points, aren't they? They drew again
today, or yesterday.
So they haven't lost for a few matches. Now, I think Newcastle lost at the weekend 2-0 today to somebody. I can't remember now. You'll say the results later on, but I know Newcastle seem to be in a bit of a bother there.
Yeah.
But, you know, you've got to give him a chance. If he's a Geordie through and through, which he is, give him a chance, man. Get behind him, right? But then he's being realistic. Perhaps he's being very realistic and thinks we're doomed. They're doomed, like, I don't know. He's probably pissed off. Yeah.
Just to switch off, because we are called Talk from the Terraces, so it's not all about what's going on the pitch. I'll put up some pictures now. And as you can see there's a man cave, and it's absolutely fantastically done. It cost the geezer $5,000, and it's basically, as you see in the pictures, it's an Adidas shoebox. It's a man cave with a bar in. As I said before, Dave, it cost him $5,000. Now, is that the ultimate man cave, or is that a bit too far?
You know what? It's an excellent looking man cave. I mean, look, that's so realistic, that Adidas shoebox. It's even got the size on the side, etc. You know, size 9s, isn't it, or something? But it looks excellent, and inside it looks like a proper bar. So I mean, $5,000 may have been spent on. Well, I mean, just like a little extension on a home, isn't it? It's not cheap these days to do things like that. So you know, he's obviously got a few quid, and good luck to him if he wants to spend his money on something like that. It's not cheap to do up stuff like that these days. Electrics, plumbing, and this, that, the other.
I was just saying what you just said there, Dave. It's his money. At the end of the day, you know,
his money. Yeah,
you can say he's wasting it, and he's done this, and it's a step too far, and everything. But you just said that it's his money, mate.
Exactly.
You know?
Yeah, it's his money. Let him do if he wants to do that with his money. Fair play, mate. If he wants to buy a fucking vintage pair of trainers for $5,000, that's his business. You know what I mean?
People spend more on training. Okay, we'll go to some results. because Gary's not here and you're out in the missus' car, so you can't see a lot. But this is why Gary probably hasn't turned up tonight, Dave.
Gary, we're going to hear your result now, aren't we? For Matt, he's going to read out the Watford result, I think.
Yeah, Leicester 4, Watford 2.
Oh, no. Gary, you've got to be with us, man. You've got to face it. Take it on the chin, bruv.
Yeah, Vardy is obviously scored to send, as said to Claudio Ranier, you've come back to Leicester, but it wasn't a good night for you, pal.
Oh, dear, yeah. And that crazy. Football's such a crazy fucking game right now, isn't it? Like, look what they smashed. Watford smashed
Man United. Yeah.
4-1. We spoke about this the other day, didn't we? A few weeks ago, even with Martin, I think. How 1 week you can beat someone, and the next week you can fucking lose to someone who you thrashed. It's like you thrashed someone, and you go and play the team that got thrashed by the team you thrashed, and then you get thrashed. It's like you couldn't predict anything, could you? Like,
you know what, Dave? These days you can't.
No.
Obviously, the weather's getting bad now. The Burnley v Spurs game got postponed due to snow. Yeah. I'll put up a picture now. From that picture, you can see that it was quite bad. There are certain comments from the old school just saying, get out the orange footballs and get on with it.
Yes, like the old days, mate. The old orange footballs. Yeah, I remember. I loved watching as a kid. I remember watching Match of the Day, the old orange football, especially in the FA Cup. It's always the FA Cup third round, because that's the first week of January, which is always the coldest, because the winters used to be fucking freezing back in the 70s and 80s, trust me. And the old orange football, mate. Yeah, get the orange football back out. Ooh. That's what I say. Stop being pussies. Stop being fucking pussies and get on with it, man.
The orange tango football, Adidas tango footballs.
You can't beat it. Even Subbuteo had one.
One of the best. Well, I'll go through a few results, and I will be putting up all the results at the end of this podcast. Crystal Palace 1, Villa 2. Steven Gerrard seems to be on a winning streak. Going well for him, Dave, isn't it?
And the Palace's first defeat at home this season as well, that was, I believe. So, Gerrard is...
No, yeah.
I think it's Palace's first home defeat, maybe just in the league. I don't know about the Cup. Well, no, they haven't been in the Cup yet. So, that's their first home defeat to Villa. Villa, another team who looked a bit shy. Now they're back up. Yeah, Gerrard must be doing the business. It's a fair play to him,
Steve, we'll talk about Steven Gerrard just a minute. He moved from Rangers, where he was very successful in his first term of management, and now he's moved down to Villa. And obviously he seems to be doing well. And we've said before, he's heading to Liverpool, isn't he?
Possibly en route.
In a roundabout way. But if he can do a good job at Villa, fair play to him. Right, we'll go to Man City 2, West Ham 1. West Ham have been doing well lately. But Man City got the score out. Another massive result, Dave. Liverpool 4, Southampton 0.
Well, that would have been... that's one game you would have said that Liverpool would have smashed them. So you would have expected that type of result, I'd have said, against Southampton. No disrespect to Southampton. Liverpool. Sorry?
4 goals?
Yeah. You expect Liverpool to score a lot these days, don't you? So it was no shock, that result, to be honest with you. Not to me, anyway. I'd have said that they'd have won that hands down. So, and they did.
Because a few seasons, I can't remember, it was a few seasons ago now. There was a lot of Southampton players moving on to Liverpool, wasn't there?
Yeah, there was. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I can't remember the name.
Oh, that geezer that played for England. I never rated him that much. Oh, God. and he went off to their sort of what was his name?
I can't remember. Okay.
I'm getting yeah.
We'll go to, as you said, I think you said before, there's a couple of 0-0s. Norwich and Wolves were 0-0, and Brighton and Leeds were 0-0. Norwich,
right,
to get a draw, that's not bad for them, is it? You know, the way it's going.
No, they're doing well. They've now, I think they've run beaten in the league in about 4 games, and they were dead and buried 5 weeks ago. So
we actually broke them off. Yeah,
they're pulling themselves out, aren't they? They're pulling themselves out of it a little bit. So, you know, if they can keep that up, keep getting the odd point here and there, and possibly a win or 2, then they might even survive Norwich, but maybe not. I can't see it, but they're trying their best anyway, aren't they? So good luck to them.
That's all you can do, Dave. That's all you can do.
They're giving it a go. They're giving it a go.
There's a video on Match of the Day, and it's some league. It's not
quite sure what's going on at the moment. I think it was the referee that pushed him there, and he's gone down. You try to convince the referee you've been struck from behind, and then you find out it was the referee that struck you. That was ridiculous.
The Championship, or the English League, or the Premier League. It's the league. I think it's in Spain or somewhere, where you've got this player and he gets up and the ref taps him on the back to say, right, come on, let's go. And he falls down. And it's called the most embarrassing dive. Now, you know, with these, I first sort of heard of professional diving, and I'm not slating the player at all, but it was Michael Owen. But when I first...
It was Michael Owen who dived, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's when I first sort of heard of it. But, you know, let's be honest, Dave, these forwards now, they get a touch and they're gone, aren't they?
It's acting. It's fucking cheating. It's not acting, it's cheating. They're cheating. They should be booked immediately. And if that's my opinion. Listen, football's supposed to be, back in the day, as a good old physical game, like you shoulder barging each other, dirty sliding tackles, etc., etc. Like, not horrible.
A man's game. Yeah.
It's a man's. Listen, that is cheating. If you're trying to cheat the referee and the other team out of a win or whatever, and try and get a penalty or a free kick, which would alter the course of the game, that is just cheating. And it is also embarrassing, like you say, rolling around like you've been shot. It is an embarrassment. Like, some of these boys back, they'll be fucking rolling in their graves, some of these boys back in their 50s and 40s with the big fat leather footballs with the fucking great big laces hanging out of them. Remember people like Chopper Harris and all that lot. And
Billy, was it Billy Bremner of Leeds?
Yeah, and I'd like to mention Alan McDonald, the greatest QPR defender, probably one of the best, and he was RIP, who died a while back, but he was a tough. These sort of defenders would be fucking so embarrassed. You know, why would you fall over like that? It's embarrassing. It's like for one reason only. They're fucking cheating, and they think they're clever, but they're not.
No, it's
not. End of story.
Okay, just before we finish up, Dave. We've on this podcast, we've never really talked about the subject of football films. Now, this would be a subject in the pub amongst the chaps. So this is why I want to talk about it with you.
Right.
What do you think is the best football film you've seen?
Oh, football film.
Yeah.
Now, there is loads, isn't there? I mean, I think, remember when we done the interview, myself and you, when you first interviewed me about my book? So hey, just got to get a plug in again.
Yeah.
But you always ask most of your people that you interview what's about the football films.
Yeah.
Now, me, going back to the old days, I actually liked The Firm, the original one, with Gary Oldman in. Yeah, people might say, oh, it was a bit thingy, but I thought it was quite decent, that film. I even liked ID, even though it was a bit silly, but it was actually based on a true story of an undercover old Bill at Millwall back in the 80s, right?
You know what,
I've read
Dave?
his book.
Yeah. ID is one of my favourite films. I didn't think it was that far-fetched, if I'm honest.
Really?
I'm in the process at the moment of trying to get the actual guy that went undercover into Millwall for an interview.
Have you read the book, Matty? Have you read his book?
No, his name's James Bannon, isn't it?
Yes, I've got his book and I've read it. I've got his book indoors. Yeah, he got involved, really involved. In fact, he upset his colleagues. He upset his colleagues quite a lot because he got well involved, shall we say?
Yeah. He has done another interview. He has done another podcast. So I'm in the process of trying to reach out to him, and hopefully that will pull off. ID thought was a brilliant film. Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the sequel, Dave. ID 2.
No, I never. Sequels of any films are always shite.
Yeah, don't bother.
Fuck them. Yeah, they're useless. No, don't bother. I'm not going to bother. I liked also football. Some people don't like Football Factory. Football Factory I thought was funny, and it portrayed characters.
Football Factory, Dave.
Yeah. It portrayed the characters well. There's my favourite character, which I can't remember. Was it Bill? Is it Bill?
Yeah, Billy Bright. Yeah.
He's a fucking paranoid loony, isn't he? Like, he gets proper paranoid in the arsehole with everybody. Now, there was always one of them or two of them boys around in each firm, isn't there? One, back in the day when I was on the piss and fucking off me nut, I used to get a bit fucking silly as well. But I like that fucking film, yeah. I like Football Factory. I'll tell you a film I fucking think's the most embarrassing is Green Street. That is embarrassing, man.
I'm glad you brought Green Street up, because when I started my channel, my first ever interview was with Dougie Brimson, which is the writer of Green Street. Now, if you go and watch the interview, I'll put the link up in the description. Very surprisingly, you will hear Dougie himself slate Green Street.
Right.
And he was also banned off the set because it was a woman director that actually directed Green Street.
A woman?
Yeah. And he said Green Street should have been so much better.
It could have been, couldn't it? I mean, they got certain things right. They got the clothing right. They got, the fella they got to play the bloody part. What's his name? Not the fella. Was it Harry Potter or someone?
Oh, Elijah Wood.
Those other.
The
Elijah
Hobbit.
Wood, not a Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, mate. I mean, really. Could you see him being a hooligan?
Do you know what? When Dougie in my interview with Dougie Brimson, when he got the phone call, thought that was a joke.
Yeah.
They said, we've got a major Hollywood star, Elijah Wood, is going to be the American that comes in and joins the hooligans. Yeah. And Dougie Brimson thought that was a joke. He says it on my podcast. And he
very bad cast.
He got banned. And then you had Green Street 2, 3, 4, and it got silly. But Dougie said he was never anything to sequels. What he tried to do is he did go to a producer because he said the best character in Green Street was Bobber.
Right.
Without a doubt, it was Bobber.
Was he the fella? Was he the tall skinner? He had his crop tear and he wore the 3/4 length like aquascutum jacket. Was that him?
No, he was played by Leo Gregory.
Right. I don't really know much about it.
Blonde hair. He was the one that was the traitor that went over to the Millwall club.
Oh, yeah. I kind of.
And he basically said, but they didn't want to know.
No.
Unfortunately. No. But a lot of people think that when you chat to Dougie Brimson will say, Green Street was tight.
Yeah, they could have done that a lot better. 100%, man.
I'll tell you what I did watch, Dave, and it's one of the original films. Was Arrivederci Millwall. Have you seen that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I did remember that, yeah.
I watched that the other week. Didn't really know what to make of it, really.
I remember the name of the film, but my days, when I'm back in, a lot of my days were a bit hazy when I was on, back in my old pissed up days, etc. Yeah. I remember the film. I can't actually remember exactly what it was all about now. Arrivederci Millwall.
It was a little firm of little Millwall, not like 6, 7 or 8, and they went on tour with England, and they basically went to Spain, and then one of them fucking went mad and shot people and got nicked, and it was just a tale of woe, really. And I didn't know what to make of it. But people, now I tell you what, you mentioned the original film. Now Nick loves the film. I think it's a good film. People say, "Oh, he should never have remade it," but it's its own film because it's from a different perspective. It's from Dom's perspective. It's not from the head of West Ham's firm, So, what did you think of the remake?
I haven't seen it. I've not watched it, so I don't know. But I know they had lots of good clobber in it. I know that. I see that, but I haven't actually watched it, Matty, so I don't know.
Yeah, you know what? I think it was 80 Casual Classics that actually went through all their sort of clobber and even the collector stuff that they don't sell, and they went right back and they, all the 80 stuff was there, mate. It was,
the vintage stuff. Stewart's in London sell that type of clobber. All the old tracksuits, weren't it, mainly? The colourful tracksuits.
Well, it's funny. Again, you mentioned Stewart's. I've got, and I don't know if you remember, but I've got an interview coming up soon with a guy called Mick Robinson, who was in the band Accent. And they were labelled as the first casual band, and their manager was the guy that owned Stewart.
He was back in the day of the documentary. Have you seen the old documentary? Casuals.
Yeah, they were in Casuals. Yeah.
He was a Londoner. He wasn't a Londoner. I don't know where he's from, but he had the old perm and a tash. He looked like a proper.
Was
he a Londoner? His name was Stewart, wasn't it? But
yeah,
man.
Well, anyway, soon I've got Mick Robinson coming up. From the band Accent, because their actual first gig was on the field at Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They didn't know. They didn't know what was going to happen. They thought they would get shit chucked at them and all sorts. But he said it went down well, and the band Accent never really went anywhere because they didn't really know what they had at the time. They just wanted to get free clobber from Stewart's. And Mick will readily admit that. And that's a podcast I've got coming up soon. Also,
that'd be a good.
Yeah, also I've got Frank Portinari of Spurs, part 2. It's called Away Day Stories. It's a bit of an Christmas special.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, he loved it back in the 70s. Old Frank Tottenham, wasn't he? And that.
He's got his own podcast called Frankly Speaking. So go over, subscribe to that. He actually interviews a lot of people himself for Frankly Speaking. But I turn the table as him. I've already done a part 1, so I'm going to do a part 2 for Christmas special, Away Day Stories. Also got to say, have to mention Martin. Obviously, God bless Martin. Funeral coming up soon.
13.
I can't make it. because it's in Great Yarmouth. But I understand you and I have a web link.
Yes.
So we can watch it and pay our respect. Yeah.
And I'm thinking with Jan at the moment. You know, still thinking of you, Jan. And, thank you. I can't get over because I'm in Ireland at the moment. And it looks like things are going to get a bit hairy with all these bloody COVID malarkey shit going on again.
Well, it's a new strain, isn't it? Apparently.
God knows.
It's a new strain, and to be honest, I predict lockdown and.
Matty, I predict a riot.
Well, who knows? I don't
not
predict
really.
a riot. I predict the lockdown and masks.
Yeah,
you have to wear masks again. It won't be a choice. You'll get told you'll have to wear them. With this COVID stuff, I don't know if this is the way of life anymore, Dave. Fucking who knows, mate? Who knows?
It seems to be getting that way. Ireland have been a lot more, let's say, consistent. Although they were slow at the beginning when it first came out, but they've kind of been a bit more. They haven't been rushing back to do things like you have over there.
Try and get things back to normal.
It's a separate subject alone, isn't it? That you don't really want to go into. It's quite political as well, isn't it? And,
With that, we want to leave that alone.
Just keep it away from that, Matty.
Okay. So next week we'll probably have Gary Harris back, but then if Watford lose, we might not, Dave.
There must be there must be a legitimate reason why he ain't come tonight. I think he ain't. Yeah, if you win, you might get another win next week, Gary. Come and celebrate.
You might be back. Put it this way: if Watford win and he's back next week, then he's suspect.
And if
That's all I'll say. Okay, thank you for tonight, Dave. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah.
As normal. Hopefully next week we'll be indoors, mate.
Yeah, let's hope so, man. And back in the warmth of me cottage in there. Hopefully getting broadband tomorrow, which they said they've been doing for bloody weeks and weeks. But hopefully tomorrow, mate. Hopefully I'll be in there in the warmth next week. And,
okay. Thank you for tonight, Dave. And there'll be more videos coming from UK Casual soon.